All right, so today's lesson, we are going to do a lesson 11 pattern text tool. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open Pixlr editor and we're going to create a new image, and we're going to use web small, and we're going to title it pattern text, and we're going to make the background transparent or whatever color you want. And on that document or on that Pixlr, we're going to type your name and add it as a layer, and then we're going to change the font up. So let's go do this. So we'll go over here and we're going to do create new over here, and we're going to do web small. So you can stop this video as you go through it, and if you need to do what I'm teaching you to do. So go ahead and we're going to title this pattern text over here on the right hand side, and then we're going to go ahead and you can add a background here if you want, change the color, or you can keep the background off. I think I kept it off on this one. So, all right, so here's our layer. The first thing we want to do is type our name. So I'm going to go get the text tool right here, and then I'm going to type my name, click on it, and it's going to say, do you want to add a text layer? So click add, and then you type your name. Then I'm going to change the font on this up here at the top. And I want to try to find a kind of a large, kind of a thick text. So I'm going to change it to the amaranth, and I'm going to keep the color black. All right, so then after you've chosen it, then what you're going to do is I'm going to go back. Now what I want to do is I want to rasterize the layer, and that's going to take the text and it's going to change it into an image. And then we're going to use edit transform to make the text really large. So that's the next thing. So now I've got my image here, or my text there, and notice over here I've got my name on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to layer, and I'm going to go to rasterize text. So I'm going to click on that, and notice where it said layer is rasterized. Once I've done that, now this is considered a text image. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to go and get my little pointer tool, and I'm going to do edit, free transform right here, free transform, edit, free transform. And then I'm going to take the little dots, and notice it's only letting me go so big with it, and I really want it to be large. So I want to go up here where it says fixed at the top. I'm going to change it to free, and that way I can change it to whatever size I want. So I want this to be really big. So notice now I can change it however I want, and that's what I wanted to do. So I am going to go ahead and change it quite large. I'm going to even take this off of the canvas a little bit. So I want it as big as the canvas. All right, so now I have my name, and it's rasterized, and I'm over here on this layer. So next, let's go back and see what it says to do next. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and search for an image, where I'm on number 4, that I'm going to use to replace the text with. And then I'm going to copy the image address, and then I'm going to go to layer and add URL as layer, and I'm going to paste it. All right, so now I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to look for, I think what I used on this one was a candy corn background, but you can use whatever kind of background you want. And I just want a picture of some candy corn. So go to images. I'm just going to click on this one. All right, it's a nice large image. What I'm going to do is right click on this now. For me, that's control and click, or 2 fingers down. I'm going to copy the image address right here once I right click on it. And then I'm going to go into photo editor, and now I'm going to add a layer. So I'm going to go up to layer, and I'm going to add URL as layer. So that means I'm going to copy the image address here. So image URL, that's just the web address. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to do Control V. Oh, I didn't. Oh, Command Control V. There we go. And I'm going to load. So now I have candy corn Halloween as a background here. Okay. So that's going to be my background, and what I'm going to do is I want to move my name layer over here on the right of my layers, and move the name layer on top of the background layer. So now your name layer should be at the top. Then you have your image layer there, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is go back to my lesson. So now you should have a layer with your name on it and a layer with an image, and then we drag the name layer on top of the other layers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my name layer, and I'm going to use the wand tool to select my name. And I have to do it one letter at a time. So I'm going to use the wand tool. I'm going to click on the first letter of my name to select that letter, and then I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on each other letter of my name to select all the letters, okay? So let me go do that next. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm on the name layer, right? That's what I should be on. Let me make sure. What layer should I be on when I do this? All right, you're on the name layer, yes. So I need to be on the name layer. So I'm going to go, I'm on the name layer, see how it's highlighted. Now I'm going to go get the wand, and the wand is right over here. And then what I'm going to do, and it says tolerance of 32 up here. Hopefully, I think I can change that up to about 50, 40, 50. All right, so it should, when I click on the K, all right, it's going to select that part of the K. I want to select all the letters. So what I have to do now is I'm going to click on all of them, but I have to hold the Shift key down. So I'm going to hold the Shift key down. So I have my fingers on it right now. I'm holding it down, and I'm not going to let go. And I'm going to click on the rest of the K. I'm going to click on the dot. I'm still holding that Shift key down, and I'm clicking. So notice it's selecting, it selected the Kim. Now I'm going to go over here, and I'm holding the Shift key down the whole time, and I've got click on the R, on the O, on the B, and you're going to select each letter of your name. Once you're done, so now I'm done selecting, now I'm going to let go of the Shift key. All right, so now I've let go of the Shift key, and I've got my whole name selected. Now I'm going to go back to my instructions, and it says now, after that I'm on number 8 here. Now turn off the layer by clicking on the check mark on that layer. Okay, so now I'm clicking off of the layer, the name layer. So now I'm clicking off. So notice my name went away, but the selection stayed, and I need that selection to still be there. So now let's go back and look. Now what I need to do is I'm going to click on that background layer, and I'm going to select Invert Selection. So now I'm going to click on a different layer, the background with the candy corn on it, and I'm going to select Invert Selection. That means it's going to select everything on the outside of the letters, and then I'm going to delete that, or I'm going to hit Edit Cut. And this should delete the background and leave the letters that are cut out with the background in it. So here I go. I'm going to go over here. So now I want to be on the background. So I want to click on the candy corn there. And I've got my names selected, so I'm going to invert the selection because right now I have the letters selected, but I want the background selected. So I'm going to go to Select, and I'm going to go to Invert Selection right here. So Select, Invert Selection. So now you notice it added some lines right here on the outside. I'm going to hit Delete, or you can go to Edit and Cut. So now notice the background went away and it left the letters there. And that's really what I wanted to do. Okay, if you need to listen to this again, just pause and rewind. All right, now what I want to do is I want to deselect, or I'm going to hit Control D or Select, Deselect, and then I'm going to use some filters to stylize this and add a drop shadow or an outer glow. Then I'm going to crop it and I'll be done. All right, so I'm going to deselect, then I'm going to add filters to stylize, and then I'm going to use the crop tool. So I'm going to go back. Now what I'm going to do is deselect. I think it's already deselected. So somehow mine is already deselected, but if yours isn't and it still has those little white lines, you're going to go to Select and Deselect. But mine's not selected. So now what I want to do is stylize this. So in order to stylize it, I'm going to go up to a filter, and then I'm going to add an outer glow. So now I can move this around. So notice it added a white outer glow. I can change that color right here to maybe a yellow. So I want like a yellow outer glow. You can hit OK. And now I have a yellow outer glow. I'm not sure I like that. Maybe I'll make the size a little bit smaller. Okay, and the opacity I could bring down a little bit so it's not so bright. Okay, now maybe what I'm going to do is add another filter. So I want to do a drop shadow. So I have a black drop shadow. Maybe I do like a gray drop shadow. And then I'm going to take it and offset my off shadow. So notice if I do this one, it moves the drop shadow over. Maybe I want the drop shadow to go down a little bit. I hit apply. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. And then you can do any other kind of filter that you want. If you want to do bevel, that looks kind of cool. I like that. I might try that. Let's see. All right, so I'm just gonna, you can play around with it. The angle, so you can play around. That's kind of cool. The elevation. You can do the size of your bevel. You can do the depth of your bevel. Kind of change it up a little bit. All right, I'm just going to be done with this now. After you're done playing with the filters and getting it the way you want it, then what you can do is you can crop it. So go back up here to this crop tool right here, and then we're going to just kind of bring this down and crop just your name, and then we're going to save that. So once we're done with that, we're going to hit the pointer tool. There we go. Now that kind of set that in. So now I'm going to go hit File, Save, Pattern Text, save it as a PNG or a JPEG, either way, download it, and then go ahead and turn that in. And then once you're done with that, let's go back to the assignment. It says save it as a JPEG file, add it to your Pixlr work Google slide, and call it text pattern sample. This was my sample that I started with. And then you're going to screenshot it and turn it in. And that's it. So hopefully you won't have any problems after this. If so, just reach out to me. Thanks.